everyone. This was a really fun week of chapters, with most of them being both really great and very fun, with Black Clover, C, and Mashle standing out the most for me. With that, here's the spoiler warning, and we're starting off with Black Clover, chapter 293. This was a great chapter, with Magna getting a real chance to shine with his fight against Dante. So it starts with their fight continuing as Dante recovers from Magna's punch. They keep going back and forth with Dante belittling Magna the whole time. Magna then thinks of all the people he admires, like Luck and Yami, even remembering back to a time when he asked Yami why he let him join the Black Bulls. Yami told him he didn't really have one, except Magna may have the most guts of anyone he knows. The exchange between Dante and Magna continued, with Magna getting the worst of it because of Dante's healing ability. As it looked like Dante was about to win, his devil fusion broke, leaving him stunned. Magna explains that they both ran out of mana, and that Dante must have never fought someone at his level before or ran out of mana. Dante starts to panic as they exchange their final hits, with the last one being that they both punched each other in the face at about the same time. It cuts to Luck hurrying to find whatever bad energy he found, as we see both him and Asta with Noct arriving where Dante's fight was to see Magna standing tall, letting out a roar of victory with Dante unconscious at his feet. The soul chain also started to disappear as Dante fell. Overall, I'd give that chapter an A. It was awesome seeing Magna pull off this genuinely gutsy win, as Dante couldn't handle not having his magic. Now it'll be interesting to see what the others will do when they hear that Dante lost again. The Dark Triad don't seem very forgiving, and may abandon him for failing twice, or they may reveal that the other two consider him the weakest of them. I'm not sure they would do that though. I think they may get more angry seeing as one of them lost again, or for even the first time, or they simply might not care as more devils arrive to cause more chaos. I'm assuming we'll see more of how the other battles are doing, as well as what's happening with the tree next chapter. So now we're on to Undead Unluck, chapter 64. This was a good chapter as it took an unexpected turn with what happened to Shen. It started with Shen asking Mew to kill him. She's confused by this, then asks Andy to keep fighting Fang and to get the resurrection beads from him. Mew realizes what he's planning and doesn't quite like it, not wanting him to become a Jiangshi and lose who he is. She then tries to see if the other artifacts she has could heal him. He tells her that they won't work, and she asks why he even saved her and her brother in the first place, believing that she's been nothing but a burden to him. He asks her what the requirements for untruth is, which she answers with if he sees someone strong and he wants to fight them, it'll activate. He says that he initially thought that too, till he met her and found out that it only worked on those he's fond of in his sight. We see the first time he used it in that way, as he was eating with Mew and made her move her arm towards him instead of eating her dumpling herself, making her blush. He tells her that she was the first person he liked without being strong or weak. As he says this, Andy and Fuko get the beads away from Fang. Fang sees that they separated and goes to attack Fuko by throwing his staff. Fuko throws the beads, Mew grabs them and lunges towards Shen, sword pointed at him. She tells him that no matter what happens to him, she'll love him till she dies, as she stabs him in the chest. The staff slams into the ground as that happens, and Fang thinks he succeeded, only to see that Shen is now a Jiangshi, and stop the staff, leaving both Mew and Fuko unharmed. Shen also seems to have kept his personality despite the change, stating that all he did was die, yet he's the strongest he's ever been. Overall, I'd give that chapter a B. It was good, with a very unexpected way of how this was going to go. I didn't see it coming with the resurrection beads, but it does make sense, as we did see its use early in this arc. The fight between Fang and Shen now should be really interesting, as Shen's now a zombie, so Fang now has to verse two undead monsters, in Andy and Shen. I can see Fang retreating this time, not knowing how to handle his current situation. Or they'll continue fighting and something else unexpected will happen. I'm betting on the latter. Now we're on to Mashle, Magic and Muscles, chapter 63. This was a really fun chapter, with a battle between Innocent Zero and Wahlberg beginning. The chapter started with the two staring at each other before Innocent Zero summons quite a few monsters to kill everyone except for Mash. Wahlberg somehow wakes up Mash, Dot, Lance, Marguerite, and Keldo to take out the monsters and protect everyone. We then see them fight off some of them, with Keldo saying the monsters are about as strong as a two-lined wizard. As everyone's fighting, Wahlberg teleports himself and Innocent Zero up into the sky and away from everyone. Everyone continues fighting when they see a giant spiky ball in the sky and a spiky tower that the caster is on. They also notice that the monsters won't attack Mash, which Marguerite says that they must have a surefire way to beat him. Dot asks how Marguerite knows that, which Marguerite answers saying women's intuition, meaning Marguerite is a girl, I think. Even Dot was confused by that, so I'm going to take it at face value that Marguerite's a girl. Dot then tells Mash to leave the monsters to them and take care of the spiky death ball. So Mash goes to the spike tower and starts kicking sections of the tower away, shortening it till the spellcaster is right in front of him. The caster is the guy that tried to kill Abel last arc and remembers his brief fight with Mash. But when he references it, Mash has no idea who he is. He even tries to play it off, but isn't even close to knowing who he is, which really pissed off the Dark Mage. Overall, I give that chapter an A. It was really jam-packed with stuff, and the last page was really amazingly funny. I'm going to assume that we probably won't see the Wahlberg and Innocent Zero fight outside of the winner, which I think it should be probably Wahlberg, and Innocent Zero retreats as Mash wins his fight and the others beat the monsters. I'm assuming things will go back to normal after Wahlberg wins. We'll get some more classes and sessions and whatever shenanigans he decides to pull off with Mash and Co. as they continue to climb the rank and get stronger till the day that they fight Innocent Zero more seriously than even here. That's my guess in any case. So now we're on to Sakamoto Days, chapter 24. This was a good chapter with more of how the arc will play out. It started with a recap of where everyone is and the overall layout of the lab. It then goes to Sakamoto and Shen being told that the lab was taken over by a group of assassins and that each floor has a leader on it. As they tell them that, the leader of their floor starts entering the room. So the scientists start pushing them into some cabinets. The floor leader then asks what the scientists are working on and if he can join them. They tell him that they aren't working on anything. The leader asks for a pen, then stabs one of the scientists in the hand, knowing they're hiding something, and threatens them. But he doesn't get very far as Shen gets out of the cabinet and breaks his pen. The scientists ask why Shen left the cabinet, with his response being that he doesn't like confined spaces, which makes everyone pause except for the leader. He asks Shen to get lost. Shen asks if he's the boss of the floor, and the leader dashes behind him and hits him in the back of the neck. When Shen gets up, he starts talking backwards, which makes everyone freak out. The leader's satisfied with how his attack worked and wanted to go again, but Sakamoto attacked him first, finally getting out of his cabinet after being stuck. Sakamoto then asks if Shen wants to save the lab, which Shin says yes backwards. And they get ready to fight when the leader laughs. He was able to hit Sakamoto like he did Shin, but the effect this time was when Sakamoto tries to hit the leader, he hits Shin instead, which he does by accident. The leader gloats, thinking he's safe when Sakamoto hits him 10 times harder than when he hit Shin, explaining that when he thinks of hitting Shin, he'll hit the enemy instead. But Shin notices that the punch this time was way stronger for some reason, making him get fearful, which was really funny. Overall, I'd give that chapter a B. It was good seeing the info of the base and the added motivation for Sakamoto and Shin. I'm still assuming they'll be fine against the enemies. We haven't seen the two top assassins who arrived before Shin and Sakamoto do anything yet, so I wonder when they'll end up doing something, what they're up to. Lo and Co will probably find the hardest boss and end up being hostages, leading to a bigger rescue for Shin and Sakamoto as well. So now we're on to I Tell C, chapter 16. This was a great chapter with Mare's heist not going the way that she planned. So it starts with Mare having made it to the roof and the wife of the First Division wondering why she doesn't hide her face, despite being a phantom thief. The police try to get to the roof, but they can't because Mare blocked the door leading to it. She's waiting for her escape vehicle to arrive, which she's confused about because she told him to be there when she sent the message. She decides to go with plan B, which is just to escape off the building and make a getaway. But Sekon is there to stop her. They fight a bit as she tries to get away from him. She throws a strong kick, which Sakamoto finds impressive. She hesitates when he says that and tells him she's not going to get caught yet before making a move to get off the roof. But on the second to last tile, her foot gets stuck and she can't move it. Sekon catches her and explains that they replaced the tile with a magnet, explaining that for her walking on the ceiling trick, she needs super heavy and sturdy shoes that can handle her weight without breaking. So her shoes were made of metal and had fabric or leather on top of them to fool those who saw it into thinking they were regular shoes. Akiraka, the chief of the I division, figured it out, and Riza went to test it out by getting to the roof before Mare and putting a magnet on her shoes without her noticing. That at least explains that bit with what Riza was doing and what she's been doing. Mare's shocked they figured all that out and starts to panic, thinking she's been caught, when a helicopter appears. Sekon gets distracted by it, and Mare is able to escape, getting onto the helicopter and making her grand getaway. Himura and the rest of the cops arrive too late, as Mare's already gone. She apologizes to Sekon for being late, but he tells her that it's fine and his goal was just to slow her down. We then see Mare getting into the helicopter and asking why the pilot was so late. When we see Riza's the pilot, Mare is stunned by this, as the pilot she met was the criminal friend of Riza's. Riza then tells her to calm down, as she'll explain everything in time, as they finally got some alone time together, which, for whatever reason, is really intimidating coming from Riza. Overall, I'd give that chapter an A. I thought it was great, especially the last 2 to 3 pages when Riza reveals herself. Seeing how stunned Mare was and how outplayed she was really cool. Also seeing how strong Riza's schemes were, as everything seemed to go her way, it makes me really excited to see where the rest of the series is going to go from here, and I want to see more of it. I don't expect Mare to have any more tricks, and is just caught by Riza, so we'll see what Riza has in store for her. We'll probably get Mare's backstory and why she's doing what she's doing, so it'll be very fun. But I really loved the end of this chapter. I thought it was excellently done, in my opinion. So that was all the chapters. I think it was a surprisingly great week, with everything really being great, with Magna's gutsy win over Dante, Mash not remembering the Dark Mage, and Riza completely crushing Mare and scheming were all highlights for me. Next week, One Piece is back, so I don't think anything's on break, so that'll be fun, and having a full complement should be interesting once again. We'll end up seeing if everything can keep another high bar, or if One Piece being back just puts One Piece back on top again. So if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, and as always, thank you for watching.